Okay, so we've got a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Tamar here. Tamar, you are trying to change the music industry and are changing it. You've got a different model that you use to help artists take their music and bring it really out to the world and scale it. And you're doing this while giving them full creative control and letting them really express themselves while also, maintaining their personal lives and taking care of other areas. So I'm excited to have you here and to talk about what you're building.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So tomorrow, I'd love to just talk a bit about first, like how you got interested in the space and music, and what drew you to want to do this.
So I got into the music business as an artist when I was really young. I was like 14, and so started out primarily on the creative side. And I loved writing, I loved performing, I loved all the things, and I knew from a really young age that I wanted to be a musician, um, and really started taking it seriously when I was like 14 and was kind of juggling school and juggling going to the studio after school, um, and it just kind of started from there. I grew up with music in the house, so was very influenced by the music my parents were playing in the house, and that just kind of encouraged and grew my love for the craft.
Did you want to be an artist at that point?
Yeah. Yeah. I was on the artist hamster wheel, I call it, for a good 10 years, like full time, from like
Full time.
14 to 24.
Were you trying to make it as an artist at that point?
hmm
What
hmm
was that like?
You want like the real straight answer?
Yeah.
Um, it was pretty shit, actually. It was really rough.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, being a really young woman in the business, not having the right support system, not having the right managers, publishers, label people looking out for you, and it's really easy to get lost in these big corporate, um, as they call it, like the major label systems. And, unfortunately, I got lost in that system. Um, and and it's like, it's a narrative you hear over and over again. Like it's not an uncommon thing, unfortunately, in this industry. So, but yeah, it was rough. Um, and mm, the rough experiences I had really kind of informed the reason why I started the company I started, and why Nvak operates the way that it operates now.
When did you start the company?
So I started different iterations of it in 2016. It looked very different back then. And I initially started it as like a soft kind of re-entry back into the music business. So from like for 10 years I was living in LA, did the artist thing full time, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need a break. And I totally switched gears, went to college, moved to New York. And then when I graduated, I was like, I want to be back in the music business. I don't know in what capacity. I want to start learning the other side of it. I want to start learning the business side of it. And that's when I was like, you know, I'll start my own thing. I'll start my own company. And so launched the first iteration of Nvak in 2016, and it's evolved and changed over time.
What did your launch like? What was it at that point in time?
At that point, it was us going into emerging markets, and teaching women and girls how to write and produce their own music. It was
Mhm.
very like in-person intensives, with 50 to 100 young people. Um, and we launched the first iteration of the programming in Armenia. I'm Armenian, so I was like, I want to go and do some stuff at home. Um, and then we scaled to Israel, and we scaled to Malawi after that.
Really
It was
took it
pretty
all over
cool.
the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was
So it
cool.
started out as this kind of collective group teaching people how to make music.
Hmm.
When did it
Hmm.
shift towards management? Were you just discovering kind of talent along the way? Like, hey, join my management team.
Yeah, so it was interesting because when leading up to the pandemic, we realized that we kind of had this ethos that like um talent's equally distributed, but opportunity isn't.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of talented people in these small countries that didn't have resources. And it's an interesting thing. You give people resources and you give people education, and then like you just see this beautiful blossoming of a human being. And there were a lot of these girls that were coming to us and being like, thanks for the education, but like I want to make money.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm not set I'm not set up in a way to be able to help support that for you. So so when the pandemic happened, it gave me an opportunity. It gave me like a full year to just kind of rethink the company and rethink the business plan and the business as a whole. And so from 2020, really all of 2020, I spent just kind of putting a business plan together and being like, I want to launch a management arm, I want to launch an independent label arm and a publishing arm, um, and I went and raised money for that endeavor and raised like $1 million from angel investors and friends and family, and then got the new iteration, like the iteration that we're in now, really off the ground in 2021.
Hmm. So you wanted to be multiple different things from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, I wanted to there's so many problems in this business and I wanted to address multiple problems, I guess. And my way of going about doing that is having different arms of the business that super serve different um artists' issues along the way, I guess. It's kind of
Mhm.
the best way to put it.
So when these artists came over to you and said, "Hey, I want to figure out a way to make money," then what became your answer to that after you raised?
My answer to that was, it's easy to make that statement,
Mhm.
but then you actually have to do the work,
Yeah.
right? So I think that a lot of artists don't realize how hard it is to make it in this industry and what it takes, and just the tenacity and the grit um, you need. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It takes 10 years. So, it's not like one of these businesses where you can be like, hey, like, I want to do this. Cool. A year later, you flip it around, you're a millionaire. Like, it's just not, it's just not how it works. So, out of, let's say, 3,000 artists that we spent educating from 2016 to 2019, th three of them had what it took to kind of go the next level, which is interesting just from a statistical standpoint.
Uh-huh.
Um, and one of those artists we had a really, really successful hit with it's a song that's still streaming 1 million streams a day 3 years
Wow.
later, which is
Wow.
cool.
How did that? This is there a story behind how that hit happened?
Yeah, man, some of it is right place, right time, but so much of it was just kind of making a lot of right small decisions that kind of add up. Um, so this was a song that was written in a writing camp that I held in Armenia in 2019. It was a song that um, I ended up writing with the artist and with a handful of really close friends I had in the business. So I invited them out to Armenia. I was like, come work with the talent there. And they took a chance and they did it. And we just had the best time. I think some of the best songs come from just having a great time creating and channeling together. Um, and so that was the first check mark, right? It's like, it was a great song. Um, And then I petitioned to get her into a big music competition, and that competition's called Eurovision. It's really
Right.
big abroad, and I ended up convincing the people that are the head of, they call it like the head of delegation for that specific country for Eurovision, to take a chance on the artist, and they put her in the competitions. That was like the second check mark. Because you need a good marketing driver, right? And Eurovision's a
Mhm.
huge marketing driver. It has like, I don't even know, like 120 million people that watch it. It's probably more at this point, but
Yeah,
that's a lot of
massive.
people, you know? And then uh, smart strategy post the competition. I asked, um, our partners to help put additional money onto the song and get that song in different European radio markets. And so we took that song after the competition, and she didn't, and the song and the artist did not do well at the competition. So, but I was like, the song's a hit. I know it's a hit. We just have to get it out to more people and have more people listen to it. And so the way you do that, especially internationally, is through getting songs on radio. So
Still,
we
still songs on radio internationally.
internationally, yeah. hmm
Mm.
So we did that, and that was like the third check mark, and um, and then the song went viral.
When did it go viral? What happened to get it? Like, was there something that happened, or just enough radio and then it exploded?
Yeah, we did a really smart radio campaign in Italy, and the Italian market really took to it. And there was an influencer in Italy that took the song and sped the song up, and it went viral on TikTok. And that was it.
Somebody just did that basically
hmm
without your input into it.
hmm
That's so
That's where the
funny.
luck comes in, right?
That's wild. Was it a big
Mhm.
influencer?
No, it wasn't a huge, like, it wasn't like a huge one, but it was someone who knew what they were doing, and they just, you know, they did it, and it just kind of magically took off from there.
It's amazing. So how did you handle that when it did take off?
Um, there was a little bit of scrambling because you don't know how long the
Mhm.
moment's going to last,
Right.
right? Like, we definitely didn't expect it to become like this evergreen song. I mean, again, it's like still to this, I mean, the song blew up like, um, yeah, I mean, it was like it was the summer of 22.
Mhm. That long
So,
ago, and still doing Million
yes,
Day.
yes,
Wow.
like that's nuts, right? So at that moment, we were like, shit, we need to like get on this and make sure we don't lose the momentum, not realizing that that wasn't going to be our issue at all, actually. Um, but we wanted to find more infrastructure for her, obviously, because we're a small independent label and small independent company. So the next like logical step from there is to partner with a more major company to help put fuel on the fire. And we did that. And then we ended up taking it to US radio, which was great. And, we went number one in a number of different formats here in the States. And she did like an awesome late night show, which was really big for her. And we got a really big sync, and a big show. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool moment to kind of live through, especially
Uh,
being on the other side of it too, not being the artist. It was it
yeah,
was it was cool seeing it from the other side.
yeah, I'm sure. It's a great experience to have. Did it change the way that you make music now because of that, or do you think it just Like just the way that you tell artists to make music, is it different? Like, hey, this is what worked for over here. This is how we make a hit.
Yeah. Does it, sorry, is the question like,
Did
did it influence the way that I personally make music now, or the way that I inform
inform
other artists about the process?
inform other artists?
Yeah, I think that living through that and it's interesting because like I certainly in the business sense bring two perspectives to the table, having been an artist, having done the
Mhm.
artist route, and then also having the experience on the business side. I think it gives me a kind of a unique perspective when I'm sitting across from an artist. Um, and yeah, I think that when you're trying to get people to work with you, it's relevant if you've had success in the business and if you've had a hit in the business.
Mhm.
Um, so it definitely gives credibility to the advice I'm trying to give, for sure.
So just like kind of growing what you've built. I think you have over 30 different artists now. You've built out a roster. You've got a team. How does this expand further? Like, what are you trying to accomplish now?
That's a great question. So if I'm thinking like 3 to 5 years ahead, I would love to get to a place where we're servicing 100 artists at a time, like expand how many people we're able to impact and reach. Um, we're at, we're at about 30, 40 now, fluctuates slightly depending on the what vertical of the business we're talking about. But um I like the fact that we're a small boutique company, so I'd like to keep it that way for as long as possible. Um, because I think that often in the music business, big companies make the mistake of just like hiring so many people and more isn't necessarily better in a lot of senses. So I think a goal is really to keep it small, boutique, really focusing on artist development, and really being like a one-stop shop in the business for artists who really, need the help going from 0 to 1, and then being there and able to capture moments when an artist does reach 1, right? Having more having more moments like we had with Rosa Lynn and being able to do that with multiple artists, um, I think is a huge goal. And then quite honestly, like I'd love to be a female founder that sold a company to a major company. There aren't that many of those stories. And yeah, I'd love for that to be part of, my story and my legacy.
That's cool. Do you think there's a lot more to go, or is it you think you're kind of, getting almost there? Like, what do you think is needed to get to where you want to be?
Um, I think that we need to get the company to a place where we're breaking even right now, which is great. But we need to get to a place where we're profitable before we can think about next steps and anyone being interested in buying us. But and I want more IP under my belt too. Like I want a handful of hits. I think that what we did with Snap was amazing, but I think that I'd like to be able to do that like 2 or 3 more times with other artists. So, you know, um, I think, if I were to predict, like, I think we're 2, 3 years away from it.
It's not that long.
No, in the grand scheme of things, no. Um, and, and I'm loving and enjoying the day to day of what I'm doing. And I love my team. We're an all female team. So I'm just trying to like savor these moments, because like even when it's so hard, like we're fortunate to be able to, the music business is cool. Like we're lucky to be able to um do what we do every day.
Yeah. But that was all the questions I had, Tamar. I appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I think it's exciting what you've built. I think that you're kind of doing like what I would hope more big labels would do. You know, like really go out there and find talent instead of waiting for talent to kind of arise and then take you into the next phase, which I think is super important too. But like going
Mhm.
out there and finding people is like really a great niche, especially today. And you're really finding people before they're even on these platforms to the same extent. You know, so I think it's cool and it's exciting, and I'm just looking forward to what it becomes and the more hits you're going to get.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. This was really fun.